Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. We're all human, so we're fallible and forgetful to varying degrees. Doesn't it just make sense then to write things down so you can stay on track and tick off the important priorities? Les Watson is a productivity expert and author of Get Back an Hour in Every Day, and he's a devotee of record keeping. Les explains why to Chris Ashmore.
The more you can take it out of your head and put it down onto paper, it frees up your thinking ability. It enables you to think clearly. That's number one. Number two is you can actually see what you want to get done. That's important to have it not in your head and go, oh, what were they? You can actually get them out and you can look at it. I do this exercise in all of my sessions where I do this data dump and get it out of your head down to paper. At the end of the session, people go, oh, thanks very much, Les. I was fine when I walked in, but now I don't feel so good. I go, well, what happens? Well, I've got all these things to do. I understand that, but I didn't do it to you. They were already there. All I did was highlight them. Then the other side, you get people that do it and they go, oh, this is awesome. I now know exactly what it is I want to get done. So for them, they have it out of their head and they go, yep, I'm so excited. So taking it out of your head, putting it onto paper gives you great clarity so you can do something with the things you need to do.
Well, writing it down, that's all very well and good, but you've got to remember where you've written things down. You don't want scraps of paper all over the place. How do you suggest people manage the record taking?
I call it a trusted system or a system that you trust. Where do you write things down that you trust and know that once they're out of your head and written down, it will get done? So for me, it's a paper-based planner system, and other people put it into an app, and I don't mind what it is. I'm agnostic as far as the method with which you hold on to that. That's not the issue. But do you have one? I remember working with one CEO, and they said, oh, come in and have a look at my office. We've got a diary here, and we've got a planner there, and we've got one of 16 notebooks that I can't find the previous one. I'll pick up a new one and take it to a meeting. And he goes, thanks for that, because now I know where I can just bring it all into one trusted system and be more effective. So as you take it out of your head, put it into one system, not five. What is your one system? Now, for me, happens to be a planner, 6-ring binder, but for other people, they're using apps. So it could be a note app. It could be a particular Asana or Evernote or wherever it might be for them. But what is your one place that you trust? Once it's out of your head, you know that that's where it is and you look at it on an ongoing basis.
I use Asana and I'd be absolutely lost without it. It's a great app.
Yeah, Asana, Evernote, OneNote. The OneNote is an interesting one because a lot of people know that it's in the Microsoft suite and have never gone there. So they've got Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint. It's actually Microsoft OneNote as well. And it's available both on PC and Mac. And I like it because it replicates what I've got in a paper-based form in a digital space. So I will always recommend people, if they're wanting to go to digital, go paper first, get a system that works, and then go to digital if that works. I've had the opposite true, where a particular executive said to me, are you giving me permission to go back to paper? I go, yes. She said, oh, thank goodness these apps do not work for me. She went to Officeworks, grabbed herself a planner, and her productivity skyrocketed because she was using the right tool in the space that she needed.
Well, that's a good idea. Writing down goals. We all hear about if you write your goals down, you're more likely to achieve them. Have you come across that?
It's something that I hold very firmly. It's not a matter of keeping it in your head. And we all have the New Year's Eve resolutions or New Year's Day resolutions where I'm going to do this, but the majority of those are in your head and not written down. So that's number one. Number two, there's no accountability. So you've not got somebody that walks alongside you and says, Well, let me do that for a day, a week, a month, 2 months. So it's gone in 1 minute and gone the next. So that's why all of these gym memberships in the first 2 weeks of January don't last into February, because there's no one keeping you accountable. So take your goals, write them down. And yes, those goals do have the availability of being SMART, so specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time framed. And that's another conversation for another time. But when you do goals, it actually enables you to go towards something. I always say to people, and write them out and stick them everywhere. I put it on the fridge, put it on the bathroom mirror, put it on your key ring, put it in your planner, put it on the wall of your office, so that those goals that you're aiming towards aren't something that, I forgot about that. Oh, yeah, that one, Chris. Oh, yeah, I remember setting that a couple of months ago. I never did anything with it. No, once you write it down and you put it somewhere, you can actually see it on a constant basis and therefore do what you said you were going to do.
That's a good idea. And not only looking at them at a constant basis, things change. You might achieve your goals in shorter time than you first envisaged. Is it a matter of refining those goals as well as you go along?
Life happens, Chris. Life happens. So when life happens, sometimes you do need to renegotiate. So many people, I remember I was attempting to do a very long bike ride in Sydney and I got sick just prior to it. So I needed to renegotiate. Why? Because it wasn't going to serve me to do that bike ride. Rather than push through and hurt myself, I renegotiated. So as things happen, by going along and aiming at your goals, sometimes you renegotiate, sometimes you need to modify. One of the things that I always say is modify, 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 rather than throw the baby out with the bathwater. Oh, no longer doing that, and you just throw it out. No, what do you need to do? If you can't do that one 3 days a week, can you do it 2 days a week? If you can't do it for an hour, can you do it for half an hour? And it even goes down to, can you form a habit by doing it every day? And I don't mean doing it half an hour every day. Maybe it's 15 minutes. Maybe it's 5 minutes a day. Maybe it's just picking up the pen and writing one line and then putting it down saying, I've done my writing for the day. So can you become consistent with these things over time by modifying?
Now, writing or keeping a record is also important for risk mitigation.
It is. Keeping a record of things rather than, oh, I think I remember that, you've actually written it down. So taking it out of your head, putting it onto paper, it's not a matter of every action that you do, but when it comes to those times when it's significant, write it down. And I like to write it in my trusted system. That's why I have a trusted system. So that if I need to, I can go back to those times where I go, hold on a tick, I wrote that down. And in writing it down, I have a record. And in that record, I can, what is it? CYA, cover your bum. So in covering yourself, because you've written it down and you can actually refer to it after the fact.
Now, I suppose to finish up with and to reiterate what we've been talking about, long-term planning, which every business owner really should be doing, that can't be done without putting pen to paper or fingers to the keyboard.
Yeah. Again, one of the staples of the work that I do with clients is that you do some long-term planning. Where do you want to be in 10 years' time? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? And what's your 3-year goal? What's your 1-year goal? What do you want for this year? Then you break it up into quarters. And what I'm saying with this is don't leave it in your head, write it down. Now, I work with my clients using a one-page plan, and the one-page plan is a quarterly plan. So we've all often heard of those people that have a marketing plan and it's in the third drawer down. I remember that. It's in the third drawer. Hold on, I'll just brush the dust off it and bring it out. It's like, no. Have it as a one-page plan and put it on the wall so that you're constantly referring to it every day, every week, every month for the quarter, and then revise it every quarter. So that takes planning, and that planning enables you, doesn't matter if it's app-based or paper-based, you can just print it out and fill it out with pencil and paper, doesn't matter. Or you can take it to an app and you can stick it in an app and do it in Excel and then print it out and put it on the wall. As long as you've got a plan, because a lot of people that are successful do so because of the plans that they had. They've set it in place. They've put it on a place that's prominent. One of the things that I've got with my book, Chris, is I've set a plan. Someone said, you've got enough mature to write a book. And I went, no, I don't. They went, yes, you do. And I went, okay, fine. In 12 months, I'll have a manuscript. There was my goal. I wrote it down. So every day I saw this goal of, I'm going to have a manuscript within 12 months. And it spurred me on. 12 months later, I had a manuscript. And 6 months later, I had a fully fledged book in my hand from the printer that ended up on the Today Show. And you go, why? Because I set a goal. I set a goal and I wrote it down. So where can you write some stuff down rather than keeping it in your head?
That was the Time Lord and author, Les Watson. Business Essentials Daily is a SoundCartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schildberger, Chris Ashmore, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more Be Daily next week. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.